Phone check 1 2. You are now tuned into the network, the YouTube channel that takes complex networking topics and dumbs it down on more simple language. And we are back streaming. It's been about, I think, what, 4 or 5 months or something like that since since I did the last stream. I went and checked it out. I'm like, it's been a minute, man. Give y'all a little update. I got a new crib. I got some new equipment here. Y'all can see I got a little microphone here. Miss NetworkBruh got me some equipment. Got me a small mixer. The one that I really wanted was like a little overkill, and this one was perfect. It has little sound effects and a bunch of stuff on here. And what else I got? Something else it came with. I forgot. Yeah, the stand, obviously, just a bunch of stuff, man. So just give it a couple minutes for some people to tune in and stuff like that. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Got Dave W in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. Dave W, long time subscriber. It's been a minute since I streamed, y'all. Anyway, today's lab is gonna be in Boson NetSim. So if you got Boson NetSim, the version I'm using is Boson NetSim version 13, as you can see right there, right? So if you got this application, go ahead and launch it up. I'm gonna be doing the CCNP lab, which one is it? I think it's in the Encore section. Let's see, this is the CCNA section. David Bombal section. Yeah, it's going to be in the Encore section. I'm going to do the AAA lab, this one right here. Log in. As you can see, there's a red X I ain't completed, so we'll be doing this live here. So go ahead and start that up. But we're still going to give it a couple minutes for some people to tune in. We got Professor Black Ops in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, I'm glad the mic check sounds great, man. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of DMs and stuff like that. Like, when you gonna stream again? When you gonna stream it again? But I checked the comments too, and people were like, you need some new equipment. And finally, I got some new equipment, man. Got a mic stand. I feel like an official podcaster right now. So I'm gonna try to do the multi-stream. I've been looking at a bunch of stuff to try to expand my channel and stuff like that. I had to dust off this channel here. So again, we're just gonna give it a couple more minutes for some people to tune in. If you got some live routers and switches, you can go ahead and plug it up just like this right here. This is the topology. You're gonna have a router just like this, two routers, cable them back to back. Now you probably ain't got time to do all that right now, but cable them back to back with a serial connection right here, and two PCs at the end, just like this right here. Maybe I could have told y'all what I was gonna do ahead of time in a Discord server. If this is your first time tuning in, I stream. I used to stream Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But that's another thing too. I got another job, and a lot of projects and stuff like that, and just been keeping me really, really busy. So we're gonna try to lab every day. I'm gonna try, not every day. It would be sometime between 8 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. While we are waiting for some people to tune in, we have found this article here. A Redditor acquires a decommissioned Netflix cache server with 26 terabytes of storage. Pretty cool, man. Got some internet history right here. This little cache server that this guy was able to acquire. I guess he worked for an ISP, and he was able to get this server when they decommissioned it. 2013 era server offers rare peek under the hood of Netflix's Open Connect network. All I can think is this right here. A Reddit user named Poison Waffle 3 recently acquired a 2013 era Netflix cache server. Let me go ahead and stop with my sound effects. Y'all see, I love this little new mixer here, man. I got a bunch of sound effects, and I got it connected to the sound effect app. Y'all gonna see. I'm gonna do all kind of stuff. Anyway, has been pulled from service and wiped for disposal, which marks a rare occasion where the public has been able to get a look of the mysterious hardware, Vice reports. The decommissioned cache server, called an Open Connect appliance, or OCA, operated as part of Netflix's Open Connect content delivery network. Open Connect is a network of servers around the world embedded with local ISPs that contain local copies of Netflix video content. I used to wonder, like, how do they, get these movies and stuff, you're able to just stream them so quickly and stuff like that. Why? Because they got a cache server that's strategically placed around the world, so you're able to just, and a bunch of people that are streaming from it too. That's crazy. So uh, accelerating the delivery of that content to Netflix viewers by putting it as close to the viewers as possible, both geographically and from a perspective of network hops. So that was pretty cool. Netflix provides plenty of high-level documentation about OpenConnect on its website, but what isn't widely known is what specific components make the OpenConnect servers tick, especially one that is almost a decade old. And yeah, and that's why I'm always thinking about this little sound right here. Anyway, after removing 3 screws, Poison Waffle, I guess that's the Reddit user, his name, he worked for an ISP and was able to get it. He took a look inside of their unit and discovered a pretty standard super micro motherboard. And then they just go on and on about the components and the specs of the server. 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte Western Digital hard disks, 500 gigabyte Micron SSDs, da 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 da, yada yada yada, and he gets go on and on and on. And but yeah, this is what it looks like right here. It's pretty cool, man. I thought that was pretty cool and wanted to share that with you guys while we're waiting. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started with the lab here. Again, I'm using Boson NetSim. The good folks at Boson gave me a free copy to this application here to kind of demonstrate on my channel and stuff like that. So shout out to those guys, right? So yeah, we got a headquarters router right here. We got a regional router right here. And then we got 2 PCs. One is going to act as a workstation, end user workstation, and the other one's going to act like an ACS server, right? So basically like a TACAC server, what we're going to use to authenticate to our users and stuff, right? This is what the topology looks like with the IP addressing and stuff like that, right? We got the 192.168 1.0 network. We got the 2.0 network here. And then we have the 10.0 network here. We're going to start off by logging into the regional router, and I believe we're going to create some users and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and get started. Who we got checking in? We got Foster in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. A lot of old people that I ain't seen in a while, man. It's been a minute since I streamed, and guess what, Foster? I got a new microphone. I got a mixer. I got all kind of sound effects and stuff like here. So I'm gonna be ready for y'all this week, man. So he said, Dave W, salute. Yep, salute. I thought Netflix was on an AWS structure too. Yeah, I didn't know, man, until I read that article. I was, oh, that's pretty cool, man. They got these old ass servers here, and that's where they got all the movies stored. Well, they don't really have them stored there, but that's where they cache all the movies and stuff. So, and I guess that was decommissioned. I don't know what they upgraded it to, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, man. We don't really get to see what the Google servers and or what YouTube runs on, all their equipment and stuff like that until people acquire it and they kind of give us a glimpse. It's all secret. I guess that's for network security reasons. So where were we? Oh yeah, so configure the router named regional to work with the local database. So this guy right here. Let me pull up my thing right here. Yeah, so we're gonna go on to regional. We're gonna create some users, username and passwords on that account, right? I mean on that router right there. And we're gonna use AAA server or AAA, which is, y'all know what that is, right? That's a protocol. It's also known as what stands for authentication, authorization, and accounting. Authorization tells you, you kind of confirm who you are or what you're allowed to do, right? Authentication is basically your username and password. We check that information. And then accounting keeps a log of all the stuff that you've done on the router, right? So again, accounting keeps a log of all the stuff that you've done on the router, like you logged in, you logged out, you put a wrong password, or you changed a host name, whatever, right? And then authorization tells you what you're allowed to do. So you have different privileges, right? If you're an administrator with high privileges, that's defined with the authorization. And then there's the authentication, which is basically the username and password. And that's what that is, right? That's what the AAA stands for, right? So we got a bunch of steps. So let me just go ahead and get into it, right? Turn on AAA services. We got to go on the router. How do we do that? Anybody know how to do that? Yeah, one of my y'all know this sound effect right here, right? Anybody that knows how to turn on AAA services, tell me before the theme song is over. Obviously, we need to go to a router, go to enable mode, go to global config mode, right? Can anybody do that? Better late than never. Got Anders Tech. Yep. All right. So how do you turn on AAA services on a router? Anybody know? Anybody remember how you turn it on a switch too? It works like this is yes, Foster got it correct. AAA new model. That's how you turn it on, right? So AAA new. Shout out to you. Always on you be sitting on the front of class. They always get the answers right, right? So AAA new model. That's how you turn on AAA services, right? Next thing they want us to do is in the local database create a user with the username regional user and the password regional pass. So much for password complexities, right? I know. Professor Blackops is just he's cringing right now, right? So we're gonna create a username and password with the username regional user and a password regional pass. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, right? That's easy, right? Username and then the regional password is regional user. Password they said was regional pass. Right? That's all they want us to do right there. That's easy enough, right? Give y'all another one for y'all. Damn. So you gotta be quick on the draw with this. No, I don't want to exit. See, I gotta be quick on the draw. Y'all know I'm just getting back into swinging things here. So configure, set the enable password to training. Y'all know what the enable password is, right? Just enable. That allows us to put a password. This is the password we got to use to be able to configure things, right? You got to go into, to get into enable mode, right? So enable. They said the password is going to be just the word training, all lowercase. You got to spell that right first. Actually, yeah, put the password, enable password, and then the password, which is training, right? And then they said step number 4, configure login authentication to use enable password as the default method. So in other words, they saying to log into this account, to log into this username, to this router. When you log into this router, right? By default, use the enable password to log in, even though we created a username and password, right? So how do we do that? We do AAA, and I like to, with the AAA commands, they get really confusing. So I'm not afraid. Ain't no shame in my game. I will do the question mark to see what I need to do, right? So AAA, I already know they said authentication, right? So we know, remember, AAA, authentication, accounting, and authorization. Authentication means we're checking for the username and password here, right? So authentication, question mark. What do they want us to do? They want us to set a list for logins. So login, right? Question mark. What they want us to do? Word, create the list. They didn't tell us to create a list yet. Or default. Yes, they said the default. Create the default method. So default, right? Question mark. What they want us to do? Authenticate against a group, which is basically a server group? No. Local? Yes. Yes, because they said here, create a login authentication to use the enable password. Did I do that correctly? Let me make sure. I think it's login enable. Wait, let me see. Let me triple check that before I steer y'all wrong here. Hold on for a second. Let's see. Enable. Let me make this a little wider here because I seen that enable keyword right there, and that made me think about what I needed to do there. Enable. So yeah, login default enable. That's what I think it is. So login default. We want to do enable. I didn't see that one right there. That's why I needed to make it wider. So enable. So we're saying by default use the enable password to log in when you log in to get into the mode. I hope I explained that right. Configure login authentication to use the enable password as the default method. That's what this right here. It don't make sense when you read it out, but that's what we're doing here. And that's why I like the question mark through it. Step 5, log out of the router. We know how to do that, right? Exit. We're logged out here. We're back in the mode right here. The password. What password are we going to use here? Anybody know? It says access the router through the console port, which we're about to do. Which password should you use here and why? Do we use the password that we created with the username password regional pass or the training password? Anybody? We got T1P0 from Thailand. Shout out to T1P0. Appreciate you for tuning in. Anders Tech said, "That's what's up." Foster was trying to answer myself. Yeah, Foster got it correct. You got to be quick on the draw with her. let me not waste too much time here. So it's I believe it's the training password is what we got to use to log into this, right? Not the account that we just created. So training, enter, and that's what it is, right? Even though we created a username and password, we're actually saying by default to log onto this router, use the enable password. That's why we got to put the enable password, which was training, to log onto it. Peter Hunt in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in, Peter. So notice we are this greater than symbol lets us know we're in privileged exec mode. We to enable. What's the enable password? Training, right? TRAINNG. Now we're in privileged exec. Actually, this is user exec mode. This is privileged exec mode. This is how I remember it. The word the up, UP, right? U is user exec mode, which is what this is. When you see that greater than symbol, and then we go up one mode to the P, privileged exec mode, which is indicated by the pound sign, right? Professor Black Ops with the stick of the day, he said, the Cisco switch must be configured to use an authentication server for the purpose of authenticating users prior to granting administrative access. I like that one. That's really fitting. Y'all know what STIGs are, right? STIGs is Security Technical Implementation Guides. Is that what that stands for, Professor Black Ops? For anybody that wants to get into cybersecurity and stuff like that, y'all check out his channel, and he's really a geek when it comes to the cybersecurity stuff. But he usually chimes in and gives us kind of like a STIG of the day, which is like it's like compliance. It's like basically rules that the government and the army and stuff like that they use on their networks and stuff like that. And that's one of the rules is we have to use our routers and switches to authenticate to a AAA server or authentication server. Excuse me, I'm over here just all over the place here. But this is what we're going to use. This as our AAA server right here, even though it says ACS server. What was it? We use the training password. We're in privileged exec mode now. Create a login authentication method named local _authent, and then set it to authenticate users against the local database. So basically, they said to create a list of like basically a rule that says when you log onto this router, use the local, check for local username and password on this router to log on to it, right? So we're not gonna use a third-party server or another server to check for the username and passwords. We're gonna use the username and passwords that are stored locally on this router right here, right? And that's what we're gonna do here. So he says login authentication. We're gonna go to global config mode, right? And it's AAA. All the AAA commands start with AAA, fittingly. Authentication. You gotta spell it out because the AUTH. You got too many options there. So authentication, and then what did they say they want us to do? An authentication method named local authent, and then set it to authenticate users against the local database. So we're going to do, it's not anything to do with enable or PPP. So this is the one that's most fitting. Login. Ain't no shame on my game. I will use the question mark, right? What they want us to do. Did they say anything by default? No, we didn't say anything like that. They said to create an authentication list. What did they say to name it? Local _authent, and set it to authenticate users against the local database. If we question mark, we'll see what. Which one do you think is fitting to check for the local database? Enable. Local, right? Look at me, right? Local. Isn't that fitting, right? It makes sense. It's not going to be enable. They said to check for the local database. Check the local router for a database of username and passwords, and that's what the local keyword will do. And they didn't say anything. Now we have other options we can do here, but they didn't tell us to do anything else, so we're leaving it. I'm leaving it as is, like this, just like that. Local. Step number 8. Apply local authent, or this right here, this list that we created. Got the mouse. I got 2 monitors here, and I got them side to side. I need to move that now. Apply this to the VTY lines, right? What's that? The virtual terminal lines. We exit, actually, line VTY 0 through, how many we could do? 1 through 15, right? But I checked this already. Last time I did this, I did 0 through 15 because there's 15 VTY lines by default, but they only need us to do just the 4 or 5 lines. So 0 through 4, and then apply it to this list. Again, question mark. I'm not afraid to do that. How do we apply the lines? Well, we know that this is an authentication method, so there's no authentication keyword here. Enable password checking. That sounds about right. They didn't say nothing about authorization. It's not an IP, an access list. So login, enable, we're going to turn on password checking with that. So login, authentication, right? We could do local, but we created a list. So that's why we have to do the authentication. Authentication, question mark. Create a default list? No. Use an authentication list. That's it right there. The one we created, which was what? Local. Let me know if y'all know, like AAA is, I hope I'm explaining this correctly, but it's just, AAA is one of those topics that can get really confusing. Like if you call Cisco TAC or anything, or any of these other vendors, they like Cisco TAC has a separate team that does specifically AAA, right? Well, they have other teams too, like they got a Nexus team, they got a EIGRP team or whatever, but they have a specific team that specializes in AAA because it can be such a deep subject, right? So local authent, and that's pretty much it. Now we're just gonna check for username and passwords using this list right here. Press enter. So we apply it to the VTY lines. Step number 9, from the workstation, which is right over here. From this workstation, telnet to regional. So we're going to telnet to that router right there. 10.1.1.2. And then how did regional authenticate you when you use telnet to connect? So that's what they want us to do, right? Again, from the workstation, they want us to telnet using this IP address. And they want us to know, how did it authenticate us, right? How did it know who we were? So we say telnet. We said the address was 10.1.1.2, right? Yes. Press enter. We get prompted for a username and password. I believe we're going to use the local name, the password that we used that is locally stored on here, which is what? Regional user. Press enter. Password, I believe, was regional pass, and I hope that worked. Regional pass, PASS, and we're logged in here, right? Chill out now, T-Pain. We still got a lot of work to do here, but we're logged into the router, so we were able to telnet successfully. But we're in privileged exec mode, or user exec mode here, right? And then it says here, step 10, disconnect the telnet session. So we just exit out, and we're back onto the PC workstation, right? Part 2, I believe there's 3 tasks here, and then we're done. Part 2 has about 9 subtasks here, so we should be done in about, I say, another 20 minutes, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, Professor Blackoff says Stiggs is security technical implementation guides. Yep. So shout out to him for that one. Let's log on to, and it says here, in the local database of regional. So we'll go back to regional. Bloop. Create a user with a username regional admin and the password admin pass. Assign privilege level 15 to this user, right? So they basically want to create an account, another account on this router, and give it a different privilege level. Because remember, you can set a privilege level. You can set it to 0 where you can't do shit, and then maybe 7, you can do a little bit more, and then the highest level is privilege level 15. You basically got keys to the city, right? So now, get back on the router, right? And then let's exit out of this. They said to create the username regional admin, right? And then question mark. Now, we can do password, but the problem is you won't be able to set the privilege level. That's what I remember. You got to do the privilege level first and then the password. So in this case, privilege, what's the privilege level they said? 15, right? Again, it's any number between 0 to 15. 0 meaning you can't really do nothing on the router. That's like given to like help desk users or the knock or whatever. 7, you can do a little bit more. They give you specific privileges or whatever. And then 15 is like the highest. You can do anything on the router. You're pretty much an administrator, right? So in this case, they said to set it to 15. The password was admin pass, PASS. Enter. Step 2, telnet from workstation to regional and authenticate user as user regional admin. So same thing. Go to workstation and then log on to regional. So go back to workstation. It's already in there in the cache there. So I press enter. We telnet to it. We got the username. They said to use the username that we just created, regional admin, right? Yeah, regional admin. Chill out there, man. Press enter. Password was admin PASS. Enter, and we're in user exec mode here. So, and then it says here, which privilege level has you been placed at? I just said it right now. We're in user exec mode. But we said, remember, there's 2 levels here. And I remember it with the keyword up. U meaning user exec mode. That's indicated by this greater than symbol. That's like, you can't really do much on here, right? Then there's privileged exec mode, which is the next one. P, U, and then P. Privileged exec mode. We can do a little bit more, right? And then there's what? There's global config mode, which is configure terminal, right? And you can do anything on the router, right? We've been placed in user exec mode, which means we can't really do much on here. But we said that this account had to have the privilege level of 15, right? So that ain't right. We needed the keys to the city here, right? So I ain't got one for y'all. Let's go ahead and fix that, right? Which level has been placed at? We've been placed in user exec mode. That ain't right. So disconnect the telnet session. Let's exit out of this. On regional, create hold on, let me catch up with y'all. Ayo said it's a hard knock life. Man, sorry about that, man. So, oh, that's right. You in the knock? I forgot. I work there too. So, I mean, it's a great way to start your career and stuff like that, man. On regional, create an exec authorization method named local author. Configure authorization to be performed against the local router's database. So what are we saying here? We're going to create a list. Remember, AAA stands for, again, what? Authentication, which checks your username and password. Authorization, which says what you are allowed to do on this device. And then accounting, which creates a log of all the things you've done. We're doing now authorization, which says what we're allowed to do, which means we need to adjust the privilege levels here, right? Because when we logged in, we were set at user exec mode, which means we're not allowed to. We can't really do much on there. We can just do a couple show commands and exit out a router, and that's pretty much it. So let's create that method, which, again, I like to use the question mark here so I can get through it. Let's see here. An exec authorization method. So AAA, authorization, that I know is going to start with it, right? Exec, question mark again. And then here, right here, it says just name the list. I like it when it's only one option here, so that makes it a little easier too. They said to name it local underscore author, right? Yes. Question mark. What else we got here? We got server group or local database. Which one we're going to check it for? They didn't say nothing about, checking for the username and password on the third-party server. They said to check the local database. So in this case, local. We just added a keyword, local. Local. Right? That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. Again, AAA is one of those tricky subjects. I remember I used to work at a university, and having to set up, they didn't really have no standards. I just had to figure the shit out, right? And I used to lock myself out of these routers, man, and switches and stuff like that. Luckily, the boss that, was training me at the time, he was really patient with me and stuff like that. He was like, look, man, just grab you one of these, switches and stuff like that, and just kind of like, connect to the network and just kind of play with it. Just see how AAA behaves on the network and stuff like that. You'll get a better feel for how it is, right? I was like, I did that, was locking myself out still, and then I would just, once I started doing the question mark to be able to get through it, I'm like, okay, it makes a bit more sense when I question mark through it and figure out how to do it that way. And then I started looking at some old configs and how the other routers and switches were set up too. That made it a lot easier. So don't be afraid to do the question mark. You're not going to remember all these commands. I'm telling y'all right now. I don't care if you take even in studying for the exam and stuff like, you're just not going to remember every single command. You're just not. So I I think we could just we're done there. We're not gonna, if we wanted to also check a server, we can do that as a backup method. But no, they didn't say all that. We press enter here. I think we're done there. What else they said? Configure perform configure authorization to be performed against the local router's database, and that's what this line that we just did here, right? Step number 6 says on regional, apply the local author as an authorization method for the VTY lines. So we're going to take this method that we use and add it to the VTY lines. So line VTY 0 through 4, right? Yeah. And then an authorization method. So I think we just do authorization. Yep. Question mark, exec, question mark, and then name of the authorization method that we created, which was local underscore. You gotta be fast with that, man. You gotta be fast with that. See, man. Don't. When I get back into the swing of things, I'll be able to get them sound effects on the ready, man. Author. And then what? Question mark. That's pretty much it. Now we've just applied this authorization method to the VTY lines with this command right here. Authorization exec local author. When you're reading it out though, like I said, they just not gonna make sense. But if you question mark through it, to me it makes sense. When I see the options there. Press enter. Telnet from workstation. So we're gonna telnet from the PC to the router and authenticate as user regional admin. So we're gonna do the same thing we did last time. Remember last time it put us in user exec mode. Let's see what happens this time. Let's go. Let me exit out of this real quick. Go back to the workstation. And we're gonna say telnet to that router with regional admin. Press enter. Y'all hit me with that like button. And hit me with that subscribe button if this is the first time or whatever. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in and stuff like that. Regional pass. No, admin pass was the password. Right? Yes. Admin. Yeah. PASS. Enter. There we go. Remember last time it put us in user exec mode, which is indicated by the greater than symbol. Now it put us in privileged exec mode, which means we're at privilege level number 15. We're allowed to do anything on the router. We can get into global config mode if we really wanted to, right? See? Boom. What happened to my damn... I mean, listen, man. Nah, man, hold on. Let me check something here real quick. Because, see, something is missing here. Y'all give me a second here. I don't know what happened. I thought I added this. That's what I wanted. There was something else in there, too. Y'all give me a second here. A couple. You know what? I think I added it on my other. I found an old phone, and I'm like, man, I'm putting us all together here. So there's another sound effect. I'm just adding a couple sound effects on here and stuff like that. Y'all know I'm doing this on the fly here. All right, so yeah, that worked the way we wanted it to. Which privilege have you been placed at? Again, we're at privilege. Privilege exec mode, which is indicated by that pound sign there, and then disconnect the telnet session they wanted us to do. Final task here, which is task number 3: configure the router to authenticate to the ACS database, or in this case, TACAC server that Professor Blackhouse was referring to, right? Y'all got any questions or anything, man? Y'all let me know if I'm losing anybody, whatever. You know what? This is the only thing I don't like about this microphone stand is that it don't rotate because it's all in my face and stuff like that. But y'all ain't worried about. Y'all ain't focused on me, right? Y'all focused on the commands and stuff like that, right? Y'all let me know if y'all can see the text too. Let me make that a little bit bigger for y'all too. Let me view, right? I think it's the view. Windows, nah. Edit preferences, font size. Let's go with 26. Okay, y'all let me know if that looks better there. Y'all let me know. So the next task here, in this task, you will configure the HQ router, which is this router over here. to authenticate against the ACS database, which is located right over here. ACS server has been pre-configured with the credentials listed in the table below. All right, so log into HQ as the user, HQ admin, and the password HQ pass. So we're gonna log on to this guy right here. They said the username was HQ admin. They said the password was HQPASS. Press enter. I know Professor Black Ops. He ain't liking these passwords and that we got over here. None of these are meeting his password complexities over here. On HQ, which is this route over here, right? This guy right over here. Configure ACS server's IP address, which is that guy right over there. Right? What's his IP address? His IP address is that. Configure the IP address so the router can communicate and authenticate with the server. So basically, this HQ router, they want us to authenticate to this ACS server right here, right? TACAX Plus communications should be authenticated by using the keyword Boson and the IP address, which is what? One right there. It's indicated right here. 192.168.2.254, right? Y'all remember what TACAX is, right? That's I can't remember what it stands for. TACAX Plus. Anybody remember what it stands for? But basically, it's a protocol that we use to authenticate usernames and passwords, right? There's TACAX Plus and also Radius. Radius was the older version and it's not as secure. It uses a different port number, stuff like that. Nowadays, most organizations uses TACAX Plus over Radius, right? Anybody remember what that stands for? TACAX Plus, Terminal Accounting Control Access Server. I think that's what it stands for. I don't remember. Anybody want to put it in there? I can Google it and put it in, but I like quizzing you guys, right? So let's go to global config mode and do that, right? Enable global config mode. All the AAA commands start with what? AAA. Oh, but it doesn't do that not for TACAX. I believe it's just TACAX. Yes, it's just TACAX server. You would think they would have used it as a AAA command, but it's not AAA command like that, right? Question mark what? They want us to specify the server. In this case, keyword host. Y'all see? Ain't no shame in my game. I will question mark through these motherfuckers, man. So the IP address was what? 192.168.2.254. Question mark. That's it. And y'all know, I believe, I don't remember if this is a deprecated command or not, but I remember that this was all switched up, the TACAX server. You could used to be able to just do TACAX server and then the IP address, or I believe it's the other way around. I believe the host keyword, if they took it out or if it's still in, I don't remember, but that's all changed up now with the new iOS. So that's the IP address. Now we want to specify the key, or in this case, password, TACAX server key. They said the key was what? Boson, B-O-S-O-N, all lowercase. I know Professor Black Ops. We don't have any special characters or any symbols in there. We just used all lowercase letters, a simple password. I'm sorry, I didn't meet your Stig's compliance check over there. What else they wanted us to do? I think that's all they said. Yep. Step 3. Create a login authentication method. Use a named AAA underscore login. 1. Shout out to 1. He said it stands for Terminal Access Controller Access. Man, that is what it stands for. But it's like, man, they just, it's just like alphabet soup when they come with these acronyms and stuff like that, man. Terminal Access Controller Access Control System. And then the plus sign, right? The plus, what it stand for? I think that's like the new version of it. So it's TACAX Plus. AO said it's some scientific mumbo jumbo for sure. Yeah, tell me about it. I just forgot what it stood for. One said had to study IT for CISSP. Oh, shout out to you for that one, man. That's one of the hardest security exams, man, right? And network security and stuff like that. CISSP. Is that a lab for CCNP? Yes, it is actually. It is part of the Encore series, right? Y'all hit me that like button, man. That's not what I meant to hit. And the subscribe button. But it's an application called Boson NetSim, right? And all the labs are separated for all the CCNA labs are here. And we've got David Boson, I believe he's working with them to create add some of his labs in here as well. And the Encore labs, the one we're working on is this one right here, AAA, which is under the Encore lab. So yes, it is a CCNP level lab, right? And then there's also the NRC lab for anybody that wants to study for the CCNP. But I like this application. Remember, this is a simulator. These are fake routers and switches and stuff like that. But it's good to learn, get your hands on and stuff like that without actually, having to, buy equipment or use any like virtualization applications or like GNS3 or anything like that. So it's all in one. Labs are created and everything like that for you. What was the next thing they want us to do? Create a login authentication method named AAA login. Let's do that. So it is AAA. They said an authentication method, question mark, and let me widen this up. An authentication method named AAA login. We know it's going to be a login method, question mark. They didn't say anything about making it about defaulting it, so we're just going to name it login, and it is just AAA underscore login. What else did they say they want us to do with it? Configure it to authenticate against the ACS server. You should configure the local user database to be the backup authentication method. Okay, so y'all patient is this with right here. So what we're doing here is, let me pull up my handy dandy paint topology here, right? What we're doing here is we created, well, there was already a username and password on here. What we're saying is when we have a user log on to this HQ router and they give us a username and password, let's say it's Professor Black Ops and his password is ABC123 because we know that's not going to be it, but right? And that's his password. What this router is going to do is he's going to say ABC123 Professor Black Ops. Okay, let me check in with the AAA server and see if that's a valid username and password. That's what we're going to have to create to get this to do, right? And then, but, right? In case this server goes down, right? Let's say that this server goes down, and for some reason, somebody, damn, I ain't got no, I guess, I ain't got no other sound effect for that one. But let's say some rabbit chewed up the fiber over here, and we can't get to the AAA server over here. We're gonna create a backup method that says, okay, well, we can't reach the AAA server. Let's check this local database for some username and passwords, right? Just in case we're locked out, and just in case this is a legit user and Professor Black Ops isn't really trying to hack into here. Let's check this local database on here for this username and password. That's just in case the AAA server goes down, right? That's what we're doing here, right? So we created the authentication method, and we said to check this list right here. But in case that goes down, question mark, check for, actually, we got to do the server first by doing group. So group, right? And then the list of TACACS servers. So in this case, TACACS. And then the backup method, which will be to check for the local server. To check for the local database for the username and password, right? I hope that makes sense, right? Now, again, if you're reading this out, like, this don't read out like some friendly coding or anything like that by just reading it like that. That's why I like to question mark through it to configure it, right? Just question mark through it, and you'll be able to, dwindle down which command you really need to type. If you just try to type it in, but it's not done in friendly language, it's not user friendly at all. That's why I said, Cisco TAC, they've got a separate AAA team that manages this stuff. Unless you've done this a million times, it's better to just question mark through it. So in this case, backup method is local, right? Press enter. And then the next thing they want us to do, you should configure the local user database to be the backup authentication method. That was the backup method, right? And then it says here, y'all hit me that like button too, man, and subscribe to this channel if this is your first time, tune in and stuff like that. I typically stream Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but lately, this is like the first, I haven't been streaming in a long time, so I'm just getting back into it, right, into the swing of things. It's going to be sometime between 6 and 9. Just join the Discord server. There's a link at the top of the chat right there, and that'll let you know. I'll let you know on there when I'm going to stream. It's going to be sometime between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So they said the next thing to do is apply the AAA login and AAA exec method to the VTY line. So both of those methods that we created applying to the VTY lines, like we did on the regional router, right? Let's go to the VTY lines, line VTY 0 through 4, and apply the AAA login method. So no, I think it's the AAA login method is an authentication method. So we just say authent. Nope, that's not it. That's why I like the question mark, right? So we need to do the first one is the login method. So what? Which one you think it is? Obviously the keyword login, right? That's why I like the question mark. So login to enable password checking. What else? What do we want to do here? Is it local password checking? No, we created a method here. So in this case, it's authentication. We're going to be checking for local, but remember that was the backup method, right? So authentication, question mark. Default, they didn't say nothing about creating default, right? Use an authentication list with this name. So we got to type in the name. What was the authentication method? It was called AAA underscore login, right? That's the one we created. Where did we create it? It's in here somewhere. There it is right there. AAA login. Yeah, right there. AAA login. The next thing we want to do here is, let me see here. I got so many damn windows over here, man. There it is, right there. There it is. Configure. Oh yeah, the other one was the AAA exec method, which is a authorization method, right? So remember, authentication checks for the username and password. Authorization says what you're allowed to do and what sort of what privilege level you have, right? Authorization. And in accounting is what keeps a log of all the stuff you've done. You pretty much did on the router, right? All like logged in, logged out. You created a static route. You created an OSPF route, whatever, right? In this case, we question mark. That's our authentication method. Now we do authorization, question mark, exec, question mark, and the name of the authorization method, which is what? AAA underscore exec, right? Let's see here. We didn't create that method. Interesting. I thought we did. Let's see. So we did AAA login. Where was it? Let me see. Authorization. I guess we didn't create one. Let me see. Authorization exec. Interesting. I thought we did create one. Create an authentication method named login. An authorization method named AAA exec. I guess I might have skipped that one. Maybe I skipped that one. Authorization exec. Huh. Yeah, I guess I did skip that one. Okay. To be the backup. Yeah, I did skip that one. That's what it was. That's why I noticed this warning right here. Y'all see that? No, I just skipped the step. That's all I did right here. So y'all see, I said to check for an authorization list, and its name is AAA exec. But the router said here, warning, authorization list AAA exec is not defined for exec. So it's going to look for that method, and then we could lock ourselves out if it's possible that we can lock ourselves out. So we need to go back and create that. We're going to go back into the VTY line to do that. So let's create that authorization method. It is AAA. I believe it's just authorization, right? Question mark, exec, question mark, and the name of it, which was AAA underscore exec. Yes, exec, question mark. And then they said, you should configure the local user database to be the back. Same thing as the other one. What's the backup method? Oh, actually, they said to, let me see. Yeah. First, check for the server through username and passwords. So in this case, group. You would think they would have used the keyword server, right? But it's group because it could be a group of servers. That's why they use group, the word group. Or they could have just done server group. They should have done that, but sometimes y'all know it'd be kind of tricky. A group of what? TACAX plus servers, which stands for what? One will tell you guys. Or was it AO that gave us the name? No, one did. TACACS plus, right? And then the backup method is local. So again, AAA, we're defining an authorization method, which tells you what you're allowed to do, and the exec shell that really don't make. And I can't really explain that right there, but we named it AAA exec, and then to authenticate to this server over here, check for the username and passwords with this, and then in case that guy goes down, which is the TACACS server, in case that guy goes down, check for the local database for username and passwords. That's what that says. And I know just reading this out, it don't make sense that way, but when you question mark through it, that's how you're able to, that's how I'm able to, create the methods and stuff. So press, I believe just, let me see. Oh, God. I forgot to press enter there. Let me do it again. Authorization exec AAA underscore exec group TACACS and then local question mark, and that's pretty much it. Boom. I think that should be it right there, right? Y'all got any questions so far? Anybody got any questions or anything? Y'all read that like button and that subscribe button in case you haven't been on this channel before and joined the Discord server. The link is at the top of this chat right here, right? They said, okay, so let's go back to the VTY lines and try that again, right? So line VTY 0 through 4, and we say it's an authorization method. Oops, authorization exec, and then the name of it was what? AAA underscore exec. Press enter. Y'all see we didn't get that warning this time, right? Last time it gave us, where is it? Last time it gave us this warning right here. Authorization list AAA exec is not defined. So luckily it gave us that warning to let us know. You could actually, I believe, lock yourself out. If you define a method and then you try to log into it, you could lock yourself out. There's so many ways to lock yourself out with AAA. Again, it can get really confusing. The next thing they want us to do was to configure, we're almost done here, configure an authentication or configure enable authentication to use ACS server for primary authentication and to use the local enable password as backup. So let me try to explain this. Let me see. Configure enable authentication to use the ACS server for primary authentication and to use the local enable password as backup. Okay, that's what it is. So y'all know there's two modes, right? You got, when you first log on, the lowest level is user exec mode, which is indicated by the greater than symbol, right? Let me show y'all real quick. I showed y'all already. This is for anybody that's new. I'm just going back to explain the basics and stuff, right? Where are you at? Right there. That's privileged. I mean, user exec mode, right? And then the next mode, you can't really do much on it, right? So if you want to go to one more mode, which is privileged exec mode, you got to type in the word enable, right? That's the enable password. But we're saying here, when you want to put in the user enable password or the enable password, to check in with this server right here for the enable password. But if case that goes down, again, what? Check in here for the enable password. That's what we're doing here, right? I hope that makes sense. Go to back to this guy right here. Right? Make sure we're in the right router here. We said configure enable password, enable authentication. So we go to global config mode AAA. I believe it's gonna be, let's see here. Let's see. Let me make sure it's not new model. That just turns on the mode. I believe it's authentication. It's authentication. It should be authentication. What password we're authenticating for? The enable password, right? That makes sense? Y'all see I'm question mark through it? I ain't no shame in my game here, right? They said, do we want to make a default by default to check this by default using this method? It says yes. Configure enable authentication to use ACS server for primary authentication. Primary, that's the key word there. So default, question mark. Use enable password for authentication. No, the first thing they want us to do is to use a server. So check for the server first for the enable password. Group. You would think they would have used the word server or server group, right? And then TACACS is going to be a TACACS plus server, right? And then and then the backup method is to use the enable password. So first, check the ACS server for the enable password, and then check for the local account. I mean check the local database for an enable password. I believe that's what we're doing here, right? Enable question mark. I believe that's what we need to do here. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm kind of iffy about this one right here. We got two enables here. It just looks kind of funky here. Again, it don't read out correctly to me. Does that look correct to y'all? Y'all let me know. I think that looked good to me. One thing I like about Boson NetSim is that we could do lab, right, and then grade lab, and it'll let us know what we've got wrong here. So shout out to the folks at Boson for giving us the answers here. This is like we can look at the back of the book for the answers and stuff, right? Or we just press Control G and it'll let us know. So let me go ahead and go out on the limb and say that's what we got to do. I'm gonna press enter there because that one's kind of funky here. Again, AAA can be it's just kind of funky for sure. Professor Black Ops said, that is my goal. 2023 is CISSP. Yeah, man. That like I said, man. Shout out to you guys for going for that exam. That's one of the toughest IT exams that's out there, man. It's for anybody that knows, it's like that's like one of the top security certs that you can get and stuff like that. You got to know what else you got to know for that exam. That's like you got to know a lot of compliance. Was it Soxley, Arbane, PCI compliance, and all of that stuff, right? Let me know what's on those exams. But I know it's basically network security, right? Next thing we want to do here is from the workstation, which is this guy over here, bottom left. Telnet to HQ. So we're going to telnet to the HQ router, right? Go here. We're going to telnet to this guy right here, right? And then log in by using the credentials listed in the table at the beginning of the task. If y'all don't know, here's the table if y'all want to see it, right? I got to go down. No, I got to go left. I got to change the orientation for my monitor here. But this is the username and passwords we're going to be using, right? So I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way so y'all can see better and stuff, right? He said a mile wide and an inch deep. But yeah, what kind of topics are on it, man? I know CISSP is one of those really hard exams, man. It's one of the toughest exams that's out there, man. So shout out to you guys for taking that, man. I've been studying for the CCNP for like half my life, man. I'm exaggerating, but I've been studying for it for a long time, man. Work and life happens, man. So go to the workstation. Bloop. And then we're going to telnet. Well, let's exit out of this first. Exit. Right? We're going to telnet to HQ, which is right here. 192.168.1.1. Telnet. 192.168.1.1. 1.1. We got prompted for a username and password. What username and password we use? They said to use the ones that's in that table, which is username Cisco. I know Professor Black Ops don't like this password or this username here. This password right here is Cisco Pass, all under lowercase CISCOPASS. He rolling in his grave right now, man. He is cringing right now. Press enter, and look, we're in what is that mode called? Privileged exec mode. That's indicated by that pound sign there. So it looked like it might have worked. Let's see. What credentials did you use to log in and why? I used the username, password, Cisco, and what was it? Cisco Pass. And then it says here, what credentials would you use if the ACS server failed? Again, that backup method, which is the local account that we created on here. That's what it should be, right? And in case I don't know, right? And in case I'm steering y'all wrong, let's see. That's another reason why I like Boson NetSim. They got the answers at the back of the book. Question number 9 was, what credentials would you use if ACS server failed? That's what I like about this. Not only did they get you to practice, right? They ask you some questions to kind of reflect on the topic. Question number 9, the answer, in case you don't know it, right? No, sometimes it's just the first time we learn it, right? Right here it says, if the ACS server failed, you would use the backup method configured in AAA login _login, which is the method that we created earlier, right? The backup is in this case, is the local user database. You would use the username HQadmin and password HQpass. Professor Black Ops loves those username passwords there to log in HQ from the workstation, just like I said. So in case this guy right here fails, we can't authenticate to it, we are going to check for a local username and database, a username and password for the check the local database for the username and password. That's what we're doing here, and that's what they're trying to explain here. Below is an example of the login steps using the backup method, right? So I guess we could try that out. Let's see if it works. Let's just see if it works, right? We was able to log into it, so we're gonna log out and try to telnet again. We got a username. What was it? It was HQadmin. Press enter, and then what is it? HQPASS, and we're in privileged exec mode. So that worked out. That was good. So he said, security assessment and testing. So, this is the stuff that's on the CISSP exam. Security assessment and testing, security operations, software development security. He said, boo the password. Yeah, I know you don't like this password, man. He said, password 1234. Hey, yo, man, y'all tripping with these simple passwords here. He said, I've seen it. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not gonna say, well, I work for managed services provider, so but there was one company, they had a third party like security company come in and basically did a pen test on their network, right? And then they found a whole bunch of like routers and switches that still had telnet enabled, right? I'm responsible for turning it off and stuff like that. But they also got a bunch of like PDUs or power distribution units, right? For anybody that's new, there's a bunch of UPSs, a bunch of other like equipment that's not routed, like network equipment, but they're like they're on the network, and they had I was able to just Google. I put default UPS password for this brand name, and then I was able to log in using those passwords and usernames. Yes, and they were simple as admin and 1234 and stuff like that. So yes, there's companies that are still out there that don't change. So that's why when you buy these IoT devices that are like connected in your home and stuff like that, your smart doorbells and stuff like that, your smart refrigerators, make sure you log into them and change the password if you could, man, because they have default. You can just actually Google them and be able to log in and stuff like that. AO said, Telnet, yes, man. We Telnet, no bueno, right? Yes, but yes, we was able to find some, or they were able to find some devices. Yes, people still use Telnet, believe it or not. Yep. I guess we got some reflection questions, I believe. So yeah, we was able to use that username and password. Step number 9. Step number 10 was from the workstation, enter privileged exec mode. Which password did you use to enter privileged exec mode and why? So we got to log out and use that account again. So right now we're using the local account. So let's exit out of this, get back in, and then use the username. What was it? What was it? No, man. It was just so many of them that they made us create. HQadmin and HQpass. That's what it was. Go back over here. HQadmin and HQpass. Enter. And we're in privileged exec mode. Oh, we're already in enabled mode, so I don't even know. Maybe we did something wrong there. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, we might have done something wrong here. We might have to check that. But let's see. Which credentials did you use to log in and why? No, that's not it right there. Let me see. Let me make sure. Enter privileged exec mode on HQ. Let me see. Using the oh, that's why I'm using the wrong account. That's why. That's not what I meant to do. So let's log out of this. No, I think that was the reason why. Let's see. Telnet, Cisco, and then I believe it was Cisco Pass. Cisco PASS. Nope, that put us right in an enable mode. So I think something is we need to fix something because that should have put us in user exec mode, right? Right now we're in privileged exec mode. That's indicated by that pound sign there. So I think that's not configured correctly. Let me make sure here. He said, I took the CISSP in 2007 and missed by 6 questions. Oh man, that sucks, man. Uh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. See, you gotta be quick on the draw here, man. I think it started with a P. Yeah. See, you gotta be quicker than that, man. Let me fix that though. I'll get that queued up next time for you. Nice. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I need to make sure I save that. This is why I got to do this live and stuff like that. What I was looking for was that's what I was looking for. He said Windows 98. Oh man, I was using okay. So missed by 6 questions. Big mistake. I should have retaken the CISSP test ASAP. I got the Security Plus for DoD 8570 certification to work security at DoD. See, yeah, man, that's pretty much that's kind of a downgrade, man. CISSP is more of a higher credentials and it's more I think more respected in the community. Security Plus, as time went by, it started being more. Yeah, it was a requirement, right? But man, I don't know. CompTIA exams, I'm not a big fan of those. Y'all see those lines there? Yeah, I guess I hope I got rid of those. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I took A plus. I took Net Plus back in the day. I want to say like 2012 and 2014, I believe. But he said, man, I was using. Yeah, I'm not a fan of CompTIA. It's good to study for them and stuff like that, but don't pay for them exams. They not really they just help you get entry level jobs and stuff like that. Man, I was using Telnet back in 2001 to watch ASCII movies when I was a yay old lad. Man, that's crazy. Windows 98. Yeah, I had a sound effect for you for that one. Do I have it? Man, I had one, but yeah, I did. This is what you was doing. AO. Do I got it on here? Damn, I had it. Yeah, see, you gotta be quick with this right here, man. That's for you right there, man. Or here's another one for you. He said A plus CCNA good for me at the moment. Yeah, that's a good combination to start with. I say study for the A plus, but you ain't got to take the exam. Study for it. You ain't really got to take it. Good for me at the moment. I'll probably get the security plus to land a DoD gig later on. I like that track right there. I like that track that you're doing right there. Professor Blackoff said you are right. That is why it was a mistake. CISSP was way more respected. Yeah, I believe so too, man. I mean, see, like I said, security plus is it's a requirement. They usually put that in a lot of job descriptions and stuff like that. But yeah, you definitely was better off taking that CISSP. Uh, anyway, let's try to fix this because I think I'm missing one more step here. What I got there? New opportunity. And I gotta take my resume down. I've been getting a lot of hit up by a lot of recruiters, man, ever since I got this other job here. But so work. This is the last step here. Disconnect the telnet session, and then they ask the question. So we're gonna disconnect it. Just exit out of this. I believe I gotta fix that method though. Can multiple enable passwords exist on a router? I don't believe so. There can only be one method, one password there. But let me double check. The answer to that is question 12. Oh yes, I never knew that. That's not what I meant to do. uh, News to me. Yes, multiple enable passwords can exist on a router. I did not know that. Did you guys know that? Multiple enable passwords? I thought only one can exist. That's news to me because I thought if you put enable, oh, you can do enable secret. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what they're referring to. You can do enable password and then enable secret. Maybe that's what they're referring to. I don't know. To log back into the router, you should issue the following commands: HQ admin and HQ pass, and then the enable password. So something is fixed. I mean, something's broken. But that was the last step. We can wrap this up over here. But let me Control G to grade ourselves, because I know we're missing something here. Grade lab. What are we missing? Oh, I guess we're not missing. It says here, right here, you've completed the lab successfully. Click OK to view the results for the individual devices, and I guess we got it all right. Maybe I thought it worked. It's supposed to work differently, so maybe I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, we got all green check marks, so we good to go there, man. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Y'all hit that like button. I typically stream Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but lately, this is like the first time I streamed in a long time. You'll see. You just go on my channel. You'll see. It's been a minute since I streamed, but I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and we're gonna try to lab every day. Hit me up on again. You can hit me up on Instagram at NetworkBruh. I also have a Discord server. The link is at the top of this chat right here. What else? We're gonna try to get back into it, man. We're gonna try to get back into the swing of things. Tomorrow, I'm gonna try to do maybe another AAA lab, or maybe maybe let me see. We're gonna go into the Boson NetSim here and see what we got available here. When you get it right, you get a green check mark. I hope I got a green check mark for that. Did we? AAA? AAA? Where'd it go? There it is. We got a green check mark. So everything that we've done so far, this was back when we were streaming. We got a lot done, and for some reason, it was like I got a new job. A bunch of stuff just happening. Just life happened, man. I got a new crib. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff happened, sir. Maybe we could do this next one right here, configuring network device management on the next stream. But anyways, now comment, like, subscribe to the network.